Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. I am Samantha Harms with the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and on this week we are talking with none other than Colonel Chad R. Foster, a voice you've heard many times before when he was the garrison commander here at Fort Cavazos, but now he's coming to us as the 3rd Armored Corps Chief of Staff, and he's here to talk about music. So let's get right on into it on this week's episode of The Great Big Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here with none other than Colonel Chad R. Foster. You were here before as the garrison commander, and you're now here as the 3rd Armored Corps Chief of Staff. Sir, welcome on the podcast again.
Yeah, you just can't get rid of me.
We love having you on.
Yeah, don't lie. It's okay. But no, I enjoy being here. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, of course. So we are here today to talk about some music and to hear you play a little bit of music.
Yeah, and I came in here cold, so don't hold my screw-ups against me because I haven't really warmed up. But yeah, I came straight from a meeting and right down here, but happy to be here, and thanks for the time. Yeah,
of course. Thanks so much. All right, well, let's get right into it now. So you're telling me that that's one of the first things you learned to play?
Yeah, it's like because it's chord parallels.
Oh, okay.
So like
okay, yeah.
It's the same chord.
Just
right?
a back and forth.
You're just moving it.
Right.
And so you got down here.
Okay.
Just move the chord. Certain places you're gonna move it up.
Yeah.
And you do the same thing with other songs like the Ramones, right? So it's gosh, these are all the things I haven't played in a long time. I don't remember how to play. So it's like and then it's kind of the same thing with talked about the Sex Pistols earlier.
Yeah.
You kind of like it's the same thing as that first song. The first song was a Misfit song.
Okay.
It's called Astro Zombies, right? And then of course Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones, and then this one, which is Holidays in the Sun, which is it's the same kind of chord pattern, but it's you move it differently. So it's like. And you mix in little.
Okay.
So that's kind of like where you start, right?
Right.
And then over time you start getting a little more dexterous, and I'm still not fully warmed up yet, so it's going to be interesting. But one of the first kind of classic riffs after those things you get is like this one probably sounds a little familiar. Is
Okay.
AC/DC.
Right.
And then you get into stuff like. The next part, you know, where it's like. And back to. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
There's always, gosh, if I can, make sure I can pull this one off. Hells Bells, AC/DC. Right? So you kind of do all that stuff.
Okay.
You know, and then you get into some other kind of, you know, we're in Texas, right?
Right.
So you got to kind of know stuff like. ZZ Top, right? Things like that. I hadn't messed with that in a while either.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, it's just fun to experiment with stuff, right? You know, so like, you know, stuff I listen to is like a lot of metal. Won't play a lot of like the faster stuff here today because it's get to control the volume a little bit, right?
That's fair.
But you know, like. Little riffs like that, and then of course, you know, Kiss. Like Kiss has always been like a big deal,
Right.
You know, big deal to me, right? You know, so things like there's this song called "Cold Gin"
Okay.
that you know is like it's just a really simple song to play. But I remember it's one of those ones I always like to play live. You know, like. Right? You know, you kind of just,
That's good.
These are all songs I have not played in a long time.
That's
right?
okay. You're doing great.
And like, you know, God of Thunder, you know.
You say anyways, just so casual. Yeah, you know.
I haven't played a lot. I'm usually playing like, you know, stuff like. staple, right? You know, I've played this a few times live too, which is like.
That was great.
Close enough.
That was amazing.
A couple of times there, sorry.
That was amazing. You did awesome. Okay, so we talked obviously a little bit about kind of your start as far as what you started playing, but what really got you interested enough in music and specifically interested in playing guitar? Do you play other instruments?
I played bass guitar.
Bass guitar. Okay,
bit,
so
but yeah, so
okay.
I don't know, just at a really young age, just music became. And I don't mean music in the sense like I never had a desire to be like in the marching band and stuff like that. So I didn't have kind of a classic interest in it. I wanted to play stuff, that was kind of obnoxious, kind of cool. I guess.
Cool.
I don't know,
you want to be a cool guy.
So I got exposed to Black Sabbath kind of early on, and so I need to play a riff for you. For Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
In a minute. But,
yeah, of course.
Because I didn't do any of those earlier.
How dare you?
So you got to kind of do some Sabbath, right? Because Sabbath stuff's pretty. It sounds really cool, and Sabbath invented like a whole new genre of music.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Sabbath is pretty important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just something like that, But yeah, Black Sabbath kind of really, listening to Tony Iommi, who was a guitar player for Black Sabbath, is the guitar player for Black Sabbath. Kind of really, wanted to kind of sound like that.
Yeah.
And there were others, everybody talks about Hendrix, when people like that, but they're just great players. I really liked it. Got exposed to it through a number of different ways. My sister's 8 years older than me, so she introduced me to Kiss, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they all kind of stuck with me. You get told over the years, hey, you're going to outgrow this, right?
Yeah.
No, I never did.
It was people. Your parents would say, "Oh, it's a phase. You'll go out of it."
Yeah, exactly.
Not for you. That's awesome. Yeah. So then, for you, the music itself is what kind of brought you into wanting to play guitar specifically.
Yeah. My sister was a pretty good musician too, and she's better than I am. I mean, she plays a number of different instruments. So, but yeah, so she's she was really into. She was into more of the. She was in the marching band and stuff like that, which I never wanted to do that. Right. I just never really thought about it. But she did it, and so I was kind of interested in it through that and a few other things. But yeah, that's kind of how I got rolling.
That's awesome.
Skateboarding too played a really unique role. Because especially back in the '80s when kind of the theme music for skateboarding was like it was hardcore punk rock and thrash metal.
Yeah.
And so I remember there was a magazine called Thrasher Magazine, which I think is still around. And there used to be a section in Thrasher Magazine where you could order T-shirts, the old school snail mail.
Yes.
Put it in the envelope, you send away a check with this form filled out, and then maybe 6 weeks from then you would get a Misfits T-shirt, right? And so that's kind of where some of that came from.
Okay, very cool. So you were a skateboarder then too? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really,
Okay.
I was really into that, street skating, ramp skating, whatever I could do. Now look, I was grew up in the rural South, so it's not like this was an entirely common thing, at the
fair.
time.
That's fair.
But yeah, I did quite a bit of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, so then how did you actually learn to play? Did you take lessons?
No,
You just taught yourself?
Yeah, I just taught myself. Sit there with, a recording or something, and you're trying to figure out, okay, so how did Malcolm Young, how did he get that sound?
Okay.
And so that, figuring out that's the first sound, and that's the second sound, third sound. So you put it together. You get that, or you get was it? Did that one earlier? Trying to get, you mess around with the strings enough, and you figure out, okay, I can make this sound right here, and I can make the same sound holding the strings differently down at this level.
Right.
So it takes time, and I still don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I wish I still knew, and would like to learn more. So
Yeah. What age did you start playing?
Oh man, I was somewhere around 9, I think it was.
Wow.
When I was first got a guitar. Recently my sister sent me a picture of me somewhere around 1984, I think it was 84, 85, where I had my first guitar, electric guitar. It was a Fender Stratocaster, and I looked just as obnoxious then playing it as I do now, and it was really cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so you had a Fender at the time. You've got a Gibson now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about your experience with different instruments themselves and kind of?
Well, I developed an irrational dislike of Fender products.
Oh, okay.
in the 90s, and I've since been I've changed.
Okay.
Because Fenders make excellent guitars. But I'm a Gibson guy, primarily. I really like Gibsons. I think they got kind of a crunchier, kind of a cool bluesier kind of sound almost, and they're made in Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. I really like it, and that's the classic look of a Gibson. I mean, I'm not really sure if there's anything in terms of an inanimate object that's as beautiful as a Gibson Les Paul, like the one I got right now. So
nice, cool. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so then for people who are maybe interested in guitars, obviously we just talked about 2 different types, but how would you recommend people kind of figure out what instrument maybe would work well for them?
Well, I mean, whatever works for, different things work for different people, I guess is the point. Acoustic guitars is where most people start, and I think it's generally cheaper. It's a good thing, especially when you're just starting out. You want to figure out if it's going to work for you or not, if you're going to stick with it. I think that you can get some really good, affordable acoustic guitars, and not to mention, if you can play acoustic guitar, you can play pretty much anything, because acoustic guitars are actually harder for me to play. They're harder to kind of finger the notes, the things on words. Whenever I go and I use my acoustic and I'm messing around with my acoustic, I actually warm up with an acoustic.
Oh, okay.
Because once I go, for me, what my experience has been when I go from an acoustic to an electric, it's like like when you're swinging a bat, batting practice, and you put the little weight donut on the bat, and
make it a
you're
little
swinging it heavier,
yeah.
and then when you take the donut off, all of a sudden, oh wow, man, I can swing this really fast now. Same thing for guitars. I wish I'd brought my acoustic guitar in today so I could have warmed up properly. Might have sounded a little bit better.
Next time, don't worry.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I would recommend you start off with an acoustic. You can get all kinds of affordable stuff. Squire, anything from Fender makes good stuff, but there's all kinds of other ones out there. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot more. It appears to be available acoustic models from what I've seen than there are electrics. Although there's tons of both. Just find a good one. Find one that's comfortable. You got to find one that fits your body type too, because acoustics tend to be a little. They're thicker. They're fatter in the body. So if you're small, if you have small hands, or if you're shorter, you got to sit down with it. You got to stand there with it and figure out if it feels right, because you can get different body types and body styles. So.
Oh, okay, very cool. So obviously, we're just talking now about people who are interested in learning. I know that there are some opportunities here on the installation for people to mess around with some guitars at the USO. You want to talk about that?
Oh yeah. So the people don't. A lot of people don't know this. The USO has this really cool music room.
Yeah.
And gosh, maybe a year and a half ago, I donated one of my bass guitars.
Oh, okay.
And with electric bass guitars with
Okay.
with an amplifier to the music room. Because like, hey, I kind of was kind of right sizing my collection of instruments, and I wanted to add another guitar. So if you bring in another guitar, you got to make room for it, right?
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Well, at least in terms of the basses, I don't. What's the proper number of guitars you should have, and I'd say it's like one more.
Oh,
it's always one more.
Always one more. That's fair.
But
how many do you have?
6.
6. Okay, 6 bass guitars.
I
or
used to
6
have
guitars
6
total?
guitars.
Okay.
I used to have 7. I'm working on getting another one now, so it's
okay.
I have to work with my wife on that one. She doesn't approve always of these purchases. But,
that's fair.
But yeah, the music room at the USO is great, and so I was in there before. I guess it was right around Thanksgiving time. I stopped in there, and I stopped in and grabbed one of the acoustics that was acoustic guitars in there, and some young soldier was in there, and we just started playing, and it was great. And then another one came in and started picking up kind of a beat on there was a little drum box. In there.
Okay.
And so we kind of had like a little thing going on there, and people came in and was watching. It was kind of funny,
That's fun.
They were trying to figure out what we were gonna do. We were just making up stuff as we were going along. It was kind of funny, but a lot of fun. And I would say anybody that's interested in it, go in there and use it for free.
Yeah.
And you figure out if you really like it, and if you're experienced, then go in there and jam a little bit. If you're not, then go in and figure out if you do like it, and then you might be able to invest in something later on. And it's there's expensive guitars out there. I mean,
yes.
I'm holding one right now, but there's a lot of affordable ones out there too that can give you just as good of a start, and then you can figure out if you really want to stick with it, or if you got kids. And so I'm really encouraging of youngsters when they, a very good friend of mine who serves with me here on the installation. His daughter she really took an interest in when they were over her house. She saw my guitars on the wall, and so now every time I see her, I'm like, "Hey, you doing?" And I, encourage her a little bit, showed her a couple things, and she's off and running.
That's
she's going to be a rock star someday. I'm pretty sure. She's pretty awesome. A lot of great spirit and a lot of talent too.
Yeah,
picking up things real natural, which I didn't do. I had to work really hard.
Oh, okay.
And she's working hard too, but I think she's got more talent than I ever had. So whenever time I can encourage somebody to do that, because I didn't always have a lot of encouragement in this area, because the stuff I was playing specifically back then. But it wasn't that people were discouraging me, but I didn't have a lot of active encouragement. And so I try to lend that whenever I can.
Yeah.
To anybody that's interested.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for you, how long does it usually take you then to maybe learn a new piece or?
Well, you can cheat nowadays, right? I mean, you
okay.
you can go to YouTube, and sometimes YouTube will have tabs, or they'll have tablature, which just it's not written music, but it shows you kind of where to put your fingers. Right?
Okay, fair.
I try not to use tabs, although I would like to say I never use tabs, but that would be a lie because I do.
That's okay.
If something's really complicated or whatever else, or if I'm in a hurry.
Yeah, fair.
Right? If I want to kind of just get through it, like I'll certainly use that method.
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to figure out how to play something, it depends on how complicated it is, but it can take anywhere from a real simple song like Crimson and Clover, like I was kind of messing around with earlier, something like that. I mean, that's an easy song. It's like 4 chords in it, not a whole lot to it. And a lot of chord parallels. So that one, I think that song, when I first learned how to play it, took me all of about maybe 15 minutes to kind of get it down. You have to keep practicing to get the timing right. And but overall that. And then there's stuff that's like, if you're trying to play like some Megadeth stuff, that's really complicated at times. That might take a little longer, but but yeah, that's kind of anywhere from 10 minutes to several days. I guess
big range, but that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Do you? Okay, so I have found growing up, I learned to play the piano, and a lot of people that I've talked to about music in general, as I've gotten older, a lot of people have said, who are specifically self-taught, don't actually know how to read music. Mm-hmm. Is this the case for you, or do you know how to read like sheet music?
No, I picked up stuff over the years. There's people show you things, or you just realize, oh, okay, that's what that is. But no, I can't read sheet music. Yeah. I know what some of the notes are now. Right. I know how to like recognize, certain things. I definitely know how to recognize a rest or a time signature. But in terms of like some of the more complicated stuff, I'm probably like at the kind of the Dick and Jane reading level, with music, if that, right? Like the old children's books type thing. But yeah, so no, I don't know how to read music. But most of the stuff I do is by ear, or like I said,
Fair.
if it's real complicated, I'll cheat and I'll
That's
go.
okay. No.
But hey, you know, this is a good kind of cheat, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make cool sounds come out of this piece of wood and metal, and that's what you're trying to get. You know.
Well, for me, I think it's more impressive when people are able to do it by ear, because, like, for me, that's not something that I was able to do. I have to be able to read the music to know what comes next. I could probably eventually get there just by listening to it, but that's just not a talent that I have. So for people like you who are able to kind of hear it and be like, I can take a good guess as to kind of where we're going for it, I think that's really impressive.
Well, I'm going deaf, so
no.
I feel like it, you know, after 25 years in the Army, you know, I did my hearing test the other day. And
did you?
Wow, you know, your hearing's gotten worse.
Oh.
So I'm hopeful that, you know, I can continue to do that. But, you know, biggest thing is just, you know, utilize whatever resource you got.
Yeah.
You know, other people, you know, someone else knows how to play. Hey, can you show me how to do that? You know, I mean, that's how, one of the big things that someone, you know, I didn't have any individuals really teach me a lot of specific things, but one thing that was really important is someone teach me how to tune a guitar. And kind of how you do that. What does that mean? You know, and how, like, when your last turn on the tuning knob up here is always tighter. You go down to come back up, because otherwise it won't hold the tune as much. And just recognizing, you know, what the tune pattern is for the different strings. And I used to use a tuned piano. You hit the right note and then you hit the string and you try to match the frequencies up. And that's how you get it. Nowadays you have these things. Like I have a super snark, you know, which is a tuning device.
So
attached
like
to the headstock, and it
clips
on there, and I turn it on and I hit a string and it tells me what note it's in right now. So I can go back and forth, and it helps you do things kind of quick. And then of course there's apps on your iPhone. Yeah.
Phones have everything these days. Absolutely. Well, I think that's really interesting, especially the equipment, and I don't know, the progression that people have had for music and instruments. It's come such a long way, I feel like, to be able to do this stuff. I remember the times when we had a piano growing up in my house, and we'd have to have a professional, and what they do is incredible still, come out and, you know, sit there and watch them for a few hours, like take the time to make sure that you're really taking care of the equipment that you have. It's important stuff to do.
I kind of think, you know, the best way to learn, you know, you watch and you figure out things, and then you give it a name later on. So you kind of know what it is. So, like, I didn't know that, you know, chord parallels. I didn't know what those were right, until someone said, oh, that's a chord parallel you're doing right there. Oh, is that what that is? And there's a thing, and I think I'm saying the word, that syncopated chord, where it's like, something like that. You know, that's Judas Priest, right? You know, so I learned that from, like, learning the Judas Priest song, you know. You know, so that first part. There's a lot of that in, like, you know, like, you know, my favorite band, Slayer. So Slayer has a lot of syncopated chords. And stuff there, like, and things like that. But
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just you figure out what things are called. Sometimes you figure out, you erroneously think you know what they are, and they're really not. And someone corrects you later. It still happens to me all the time. But it's like a never-ending journey, man.
Yeah,
it really is.
That's really interesting. So you mentioned a little bit about people. Music itself, I feel like, as you said, kind of brings people together. I know you are in a band. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, it's not my band.
Oh, it's okay. It doesn't have to be your band.
But
it's just a band.
Yeah, the Northside Cavemen, you know, down in Austin. We play some stuff down there. You know, so if you ever run across a sign that says Northside Cavemen live tonight, that's us.
But
yeah, it's a fun group of guys. I just kind of ran into them. Yeah, they were advertising for, like, a lead guitar player. And so, yeah, you know, so yeah, I'll do that. You know, I don't get down there and play with them as much as I'd like, because, you know, kind of job keeps me here.
Fair.
So I don't get down there as much as I would like. But, you know, we played in Austin. We played in San Antonio as well. So, you know, nothing big, but just fun times. Get to connect with people through, you know, different types of you know, the music you like. And there's really nothing better, or there's not a whole heck of a lot better than playing live, I don't think. It's really kind of cool.
That's awesome. How many bands have you been in?
Oh, man, I don't know.
Too many to count?
No, not quite. No, it's, you know, 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
You
Okay.
know, probably serious ones.
Yeah.
You know, where you're by serious, I mean it's relatively speaking, right? You're
Right.
talking about things that are how much time you put into it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not making my living off of it, so it's hard
Yeah.
to say that it's too serious, but it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. How often do you guys get together to practice?
Once or twice a month.
Okay.
It would be more if it wasn't for me,
Fair.
you know, because I have things that keep me here quite a bit.
That's fair.
But yeah,
Okay.
as much as I can. Couple, like last weekend, I was practicing with them a little bit.
Nice. Okay. So then I have to ask, of course, you mentioned Texas a little bit. I know you've been here quite a bit at Fort Cavazos. Has Central Texas or Texas as a whole played any sort of role in the music that you play today?
Well, I mean, other than that one riff from
Right.
ZZ Top, you know,
Yeah.
probably
That's
probably
about
not specifically, but I used to play a lot of Pantera, and Pantera's from Dallas.
Okay.
The Abbott brothers that were,
Yeah.
Vinny and Daryl that were, in that group. And both of them have passed on, unfortunately. But, so there's always been that bent to it. But, I'm holding the pick right now. The pick I'm using is it says, "Everybody's Somebody" in Lukenbach, Texas. So
Okay.
just
There you
having
go.
been visited that and kind of seen it, it's kind of neat. It's not my kind of stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
into country music, that much. I respect it, especially folks like Brad Paisley.
Yeah.
Can really play guitar. But and going on back to what is it? Buck Owens and some of those, Roy Clark, those guys that can really, really play, regardless of the genre of music they're doing. But yeah, just Texas is an awesome place. Period.
Yeah.
So while I can't necessarily point to anything specific, other than just allow me to be here and enjoy it
fair.
and play a little bit. I mean, nothing beyond that, but that's enough.
That's all that matters. Yeah, that's enough. All right. So the last question that I have outside of anything else is, obviously you're in the military. So has that influenced or impacted your music journey in any way?
Yeah, I mean, you run into people all the time that share the same interests as you, and a lot that don't. And so a lot of times you can use your common interest in whether it's a different kind of bands or different instruments or whatever else, and you can kind of strike up conversation. You connect them. So as an officer, you're always looking for ways. As a leader in general, you're always looking for ways to connect.
Right.
With your team.
Yeah.
And this is one of those ways I think you can do that. So I mean, I've had plenty of connections with, whether it was when I was a lieutenant on a tank, and one of your members of your crew just happens to be into, oh, wow, yeah, you're into Megadeth, or you're into Pantera, or you're into this, and sometimes especially now, the older I get, what I'm seeing is like I guess the paradigm used to be that the younger generation likes more aggressive stuff than the
Okay.
I found that to be a little bit flipped now.
Yeah.
And so most of the younger folks listening can't believe that you're into like thrash metal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hardcore punk rock. I mean, that's what you're into. And you get like these really raised eyebrows. But no, that's what I grew up on. It started off, you think about it, Black Sabbath was the gateway. It kind of gets you into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, from Black Sabbath, you move to, Judas Priest and some of the other Iron Maiden. And that takes you into the stuff that I really got into, especially in the 80s, late 80s and mid to late 80s, was, Megadeth, Slayer, Metallica. Although Metallica's a completely different band now than what they used to be. They're a lot more refined, I guess,
Okay.
elder statesmen of things. But yeah, so you connect. Music helps you connect with people. And it sounds kind of trite and cliche, but I completely believe it.
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen it. But you can do that with any interest.
Yeah.
Just music happens to be one of the more, I guess, powerful ones because music means a lot. People that are into music it means a lot to them.
Yeah.
And it means different things. Music is a release. Music is it's a way to obviously to express yourself in some way, shape, or form. But in many ways, it's a way to relax. It's a way to kind of get the monsters out. When you've had a rough day, or if you've had a great day, a way to continue celebrating. But yeah, it's about connection, I think, and so in the Army specifically, it's helped me to connect with people, and not just those that share the same kind of musical interest, but oftentimes those that don't, because then it becomes like a running joke, because you're like, oh, you like that? Okay, it's terrible, and as we often do with our fellow soldiers, we we show that we care about each other by, I guess tearing each other's guts out, figuratively speaking.
Of course, yes.
But yeah, it's always been a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know at one point you were supposed to play, I think for some kiddos with CYS. Is that correct?
Yeah. So on the Army's birthday, I went over there. It was one of the last things they did as the Garrison commander.
That's
I went over and played. And that's scary, man.
Was it scary?
Playing
for
a
kids?
bunch of little kids.
Oh,
I didn't think it would be scary, but it kind of was, Because, kids will tell you, man, you stink or whatever,
Yeah, they're brutal.
And they don't care. But it turned out great, and played a couple things for them, and it was a good time. So I really enjoyed that.
That's
and
good.
Thanks to the installation team that allowed me to do that.
Yeah. I have to ask, what songs did you end up playing for them?
I played the national anthem.
Okay.
I actually practiced a little bit beforehand, unlike today where I hadn't really played it in a while. And then I played a couple of really simple songs. I played Saturday Night by the Misfits, and then one or two other ones. And I can't now remember what I did.
That's okay.
I think I did Iron Man. I think I did Iron Man from beginning to end by Black Sabbath. I'll probably think of the other one here sometime after I leave the building.
Room. Yeah, that's fair. I just had to ask, if we were playing like Metallica, Slayer, or something a little more.
Well, I tried to get like a little mosh
them.
pit going, but they didn't.
They weren't interested.
Well, no, they actually were getting kind of rowdy. The
oh no,
the faculty there, the staff were like, oh, calm down, kids. But it was cool. I got to slap high fives with all the kiddos when they were coming out of the auditorium. It was cool.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay, well, I think those are all the questions. Is there anything else that you want to touch on, whether it's music or if soldiers are interested or encouragement for anybody out there, anything like that?
Yeah, go find people to play with, man. Don't waste an opportunity, because years will go by and you'll look back. Wow, I wish I would have done some more of that. Get long in the tooth like myself, and you cherish really the times that you've been able to kind of play with some folks, kind of play in front of people, and don't be self-conscious about it. Just go out there and do it. Like what's the old saying? Dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Play like nobody's watching. Play like nobody's listening, and you'll be surprised at how much you enjoy it and how much it does for you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Flash floods in central Texas happen within only a few hours of rain. Every year, more than 80% of flood fatalities involve vehicles, and about 10 people drown in their vehicles each year in Texas. Vehicles of every size can lose control, float, and roll over in flood conditions. Is taking the risk worth it? Is it worth the risk of leaving loved ones behind? Overconfidence kills. Don't drive through floodwater. It's not worth it.
Hey, this is Eric Franklin. I'm mad that y'all got to listen to Colonel Foster play music. I think I've only heard him play the guitar one time, so I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, that was my first time.
What?
I know, weird, right?
No, I want to say we were somewhere together. Maybe I went and you didn't go. I don't remember.
Yeah, because you went. Did you go to when he performed with
the kids?
The kids?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
I didn't go to that. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you went with me.
No.
I do so
Missed
much.
opportunity.
Yes, it was.
But I got to hear him in the end, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, and he got to educate those kids that day, and then you guys got educated on
absolutely
how cool he is.
Yeah, I got educated.
So, what all else did you guys talk about?
Great question. We just chit chatted about his history in terms of like his background with music and where he came from and what he loves to play.
Everything.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Everything except classic rock.
Okay, you always do this with him. You always get the music wrong.
I know.
That he plays. I know, it's hilarious.
I know he likes everything except classic rock.
Well, I think he likes some classic rock, but otherwise it wouldn't be classic.
Yeah. he's not into it.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we chatted about.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's what we did. So you want to tell us about what's going on in the installation?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because tomorrow, that's the 16th of February, will be the last day to sign up for the Fort Cavazos Scholarship Fund.
Yes.
They stopped accepting applications for the 2023-2024 scholarship season. Scholarships are available for high school seniors and military spouses. For all requirements and to apply, visit fortcavazosscholarships.org/apply. The deadline is tomorrow,
Yes, it is.
24 hours.
Yeah.
So you got to hurry up.
Yes. Yes, it is. And if you want more information, like Eric said, they've got all that on their website. And then we've done a couple podcasts with the ladies from the Fort Cavazos Scholarship Fund as well.
Yes,
so,
we have.
If you guys want to go back and look at that, I highly recommend.
Yes. You will be thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
I think I did one. Then there was a couple before I got here, but I know we did one.
Yeah, we've done quite a few with them, just to remind people. And then we had a story that came out in last week's paper.
I think
it was last week.
yes, maybe.
Yeah, just
The weeks
reminder.
run together sometimes
They
for
do.
us.
Yeah, they really do.
Not for everyone else, but just for us
just
in
for
here.
us. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's happening tomorrow, Friday.
Yes.
What's happening Monday?
Monday, I'm glad you bring that up. So Monday, it starts the new week, first off.
Yes, it does.
But Monday is the end of the Fort Cavazos Directorate of Family Morale and Welfare Recreation's annual non-appropriated funds vehicle auction. The bidding will end on Monday, so you got to get in there because you got to go find your version of the purple neon.
Yes.
Purple neon, for those who hasn't heard, is my first car that I got from the auction. It was a great car. I loved it. It was beautiful. So if you're listening to this today, Thursday, you still have Saturday and Sunday that you can go by and you can check out the cars. And for more information, call 254-423-8498, or you can visit them on the website at cavazos.armymwr.com.
Heck yeah. That's great. I love that.
And, speaking of that, speaking of getting around and getting transportation and other cool stuff, the Fort Cavazos hop is in its beta testing phase.
The Cavazos connector.
That's what I say. I said
the Cavazos hop.
it's okay.
We're partnered with
We're
the hop,
partnered with the hop,
but it's called the Cavazos
but it's called the
connector.
Cavazos connector.
That's right.
This is correct. And they're in the beta phase.
Yes.
Have you rode it yet?
I did one ride
Okay.
during when they were doing one of the holiday hop
Okay.
rides. So I have not actually ridden it since they put the new design on them.
Okay.
But I see them around. Yeah.
Yes, I do. I think I'm gonna ride around just to see how long I can stay on until they kick me off.
They'd probably let you stay on all day.
They probably would.
Yeah.
And I'll probably make them laugh.
Yeah,
so.
they would probably be fine with that because they'd have somebody to chit chat with.
Yeah. I mean, I know, and it'll
All
be
day.
a constant conversation, not just like, hey, quick 5-minute conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you'd be there, you guys could just like really get into life.
I don't know if I have time on Friday, but I might put that into action. We'll see.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because before we move on to the Cavazos connector,
Yes.
Friday, tomorrow, is a training holiday
Oh, that is
for
correct.
folks. And Monday is a federal holiday. So
That is correct.
just a
I'm
reminder
glad
for
you.
people.
So that means I don't have to come to work on Monday.
That is correct. But
Right.
you know what you could do?
What's that?
You could ride the Cavazos connector.
I could. And speaking of the Cavazos connector, the new microtransit service at Fort Cavazos has officially launched its beta test. What is the beta test? The test allows users like me and you to circulate routes, download the app, and call for a ride from one of the microtransit locations in Barracks Zone 1. All 5 zones will be fully operational at the grand opening March 2nd. That's not that far away.
I know.
So that's just around the corner. The fare-free system offers curb-to-curb service within and between designated zones. The circulator route features clockwise and counterclockwise routes around key points of interest, ensures efficient, timely connections. Operating hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. weekdays and 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the weekends. For more information, follow U.S. Army Fort Cavazos on Facebook, or you can visit us on the website to learn everything. And I know we have a couple of stories on there, and we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff. And the day of, we're still going to do all that cool stuff that day on March 2nd.
We're going to be live streaming if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
That-
I mean,
that'll be
that's the
cool.
coolest thing. For me, that's the coolest
yeah,
thing.
they've got a lot going on for for March 2nd, they're going to have a whole grand opening event.
Yeah.
They'll have speakers and bouncy houses and lots of people there to give information. We'll be there, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a live stream for people who are unable to attend. But if you guys want to learn more about how to get information on the installation or how to download and use the app for the Cavazos connector or get information from partner organizations that we have here, that's your time to shine. That's your day.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
And you can get a ride too. You can go
That's
anywhere
right.
on a
Yeah,
microtransit.
you can get on the Cavazos connector and take a ride.
So no one can say we haven't forewarned you.
That's right. Yes. So for people who are interested on using the website,
Ooh.
it is home.army.mil/Cavazos. And then under our quick links tab is going to be a Cavazos connector.
I almost think that you kind of planned that out.
It's
so
weird, right? Weird how that works.
You know
Yeah.
how exactly where that goes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I don't know.
strange. I don't know how that works, but yeah, magical.
And lastly, the last big thing that we have that's going on the installation is the workplace fire extinguisher exchange.
We're just out here reminding people that if they've got fire extinguishers that are old,
Yeah.
unused, need to be replaced.
At your workplace.
At your
Not at home.
Yes, not at home. Yes, sorry. No,
I wish it was that
That's
easy.
a different program.
Yeah. I wish it was that easy.
Yes. If you have fire extinguishers in the workplace that are no longer serviceable and need to be replaced or turned in, the Base Supply Center, recently renamed Vibrant Works, now offers a program for turn-in, exchange. Yeah, it's exciting. We did a story about this when they first started doing it. Oh, gosh. It would have been back in October, I think.
Yep.
So they are fully ready for people to start using this service. It's very exciting stuff. So if you want to do that, all you have to do is email cavazosfe@vibrantworks.org. They can give you information on how they can come to you and inspect extinguishers at the workplace. They'll tell you what the prices are for everything, all that good stuff. You
Do
just
we
gotta
have a
reach out.
fire extinguisher? Who's our safety officer?
That would be that's a good question.
We have to figure that out.
You should probably let them know. Maybe we
We
use
might
this
have
service.
some. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we. And then we can give you a full in-depth review on it. I don't
love
know.
that idea.
I don't know.
That's fun. I love that.
What do you have going on for the weekend?
Oh, nothing.
No cornhole?
No, well, okay.
That's just a part of
we always have cornhole, and we always have softball now.
Okay.
Yeah, so my girlfriend has started playing softball again.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what our weekends are now.
Okay.
Is that I am going to a friend's birthday party.
Cool.
So it is Mean Girls themed. So everyone will be wearing pink. Should be
That's
very
pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
excited. What about you? What are you doing?
I have a traveling soldier that I still have
yes.
not figured out what I'm going to do yet.
Ooh.
I know coming up in the next couple of weeks I have also I'm going to not the Texas rodeo, but the Houston livestock and rodeo. That's coming up.
Yeah.
And like matter of fact, speaking of traveling soldiers, if you have some places that you want us to go check out,
Yeah.
so we can do all the legwork and you were like, nah, I don't want to go, let us know.
Yeah.
In the bumper, there's an email that you can send us emails and we'll check them out.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's fun. Actually, speaking of, we should probably bring Blair back in here.
Yes, Blair again.
Yeah, so we can talk about Traveling Soldier and where we've been and where we're gonna go.
And you know,
Where'd you come from?
last year we didn't put it in the paper because I did not get it done in time.
Oh boy.
But last year we traveled over
Oh yes.
3,800 miles across the state of Texas. That is a lot.
That's a lot. We've done a lot.
Yes, we've done a lot, and that's just between 5 people. It was between 5 people.
5 people. Yeah.
We traveled 3,800 miles.
So my question then becomes, how wide is the state of Texas? Did we leave the state of Texas or not even close?
Did we leave? If we drove from one end to another,
Yeah,
yes.
we did.
If we drove, I think, because from here to...
Is it from like Bliss all the way like across, or are we talking like up and down?
So from Fort Bliss, if you've ever driven from Fort Bliss to Dallas It's 900 miles.
You're very aggressive about
It's
this.
not. It's oh my
Seems
goodness.
like you've done this before.
I've done that, and it was just like, why are we here? You could enter into Texas in El Paso,
Yeah.
and you could drive for 8 hours and still be in Texas.
Yeah, I know.
That's the only state. Well, the
Yeah.
only state that you can
That's
do that.
wild.
Because once you get out, every other state is like, oh, 2.5 hours, 3 hours,
Yeah,
4
it's
hours.
just to drive like straight across.
Yeah, just to drive straight across.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But so this year, I think we have a lot of stuff planned. I know I have a couple of really cool places that I've been wanting to go for a while. So I think this year, I think for sure we're going to beat 3,800 miles. I think we're gonna go for 4,000.
If you're gonna go for the place that I think you're gonna go,
Yes.
then yeah, well, obviously that trip alone,
Yeah, that's gonna be half the miles right
is
there,
already gonna take us.
and that's just
halfway
one way.
outside of the state.
and that's just one. And that's
Yeah.
just one way. You know what?
Oh, so you only did like mileage from
here.
to there,
Yes.
but not back.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So you know what? You guys are gonna hear it first. I think we are going to do how far we're going to travel. I'm going to have all the information to go from Fort Cavazos
Mhm.
to Fort Carson,
Ooh, okay,
then from Fort Carson to Fort Riley,
okay.
and then from Fort Riley, where else are we?
We're at Bliss, aren't we?
And Blitz.
So
Why did I
why
just?
wouldn't you start at Bliss?
You are correct. So see, this is how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go from Fort Riley to Fort Bliss.
No, that makes no sense.
No.
It's got to go in like a thing, you know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it would
All
make no sense to do it the other way.
So-
To just, like zigzag around the country.
Well,
That would
you know.
be silly.
But I think that would fit my personality.
That's fair.
All
Yeah,
over the
just
place.
all over the place.
You can't see my fingers, but they're like, I'm all over the place. But no, but legit, I think we're gonna see how many miles. I'm gonna figure out how many miles that is, and then that's how many miles we're gonna go.
See, what I thought you were going to say is we're going to essentially like see how far we can go from across the country. So like if we were to start in California
Yes,
and like drive from the West Coast to the East Coast,
I think we can
could
do it.
we make that happen with the amount of miles we're doing?
I think we can.
I think so too.
I think we
I
can.
like that goal. That's a fun goal.
And I think also, last thing, and then we'll get out of here. I think I really want to sit down with you and talk about going to doing Traveling Soldiers in El Paso
Mm-hmm.
for Fort Bliss
Mm-hmm.
and Fort Carson
Mm-hmm.
for Colorado City,
Mhm.
Colorado Springs,
Yes, Colorado Springs.
Colorado City, Colorado Springs. Kind of the same but different.
But different, yeah.
Fort Riley, Kansas, Junction City, Manhattan,
That's
Ogdenville.
right.
I love it. I love that place. I think we're gonna do it, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how we can make that happen.
No, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. Well, I think that's it. We have a lot of again this year. The team has a lot of stuff that we have planned for you guys, and I hope you guys stay tuned, and I hope you guys enjoy what our team here has planned for the Fort Cavazos Great Big Podcast, for our Facebook, for our Instagram, for our X, and that's the only places that we are, right?
Well, we also have the Sentinel.
And we have the Sentinel. But you know what I meant.
And the website.
And the website.
We got so many products.
Yeah, we got so many products.
Yeah.
So there's no way that people can say that they didn't know.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy your Mean Girl party this weekend.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you guys next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Cavazos and Fort Cavazos Public Affairs production. Have a question or want to share some of your wisdom with us? Drop us an email at fortcavazos@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fort Cavazos Army. And as always, be sure to leave us a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.